afternoon. Um, this is like a terrible time to go live on Facebook, but it is the only time I could do it. So hopefully there's some of you out there who can hop on, and if not, there will of course be a recording. I have note to self, I have to remember, do not go live at 4:30 in the afternoon because the sun is streaming into my office and it just completely made me kind of glowy. So I quickly had to put up a tarp and do all kinds of crazy things to make sure this worked. So far, so good. My tarp will probably fall down. Anyway, today I just wanted to talk a little bit more about melatonin. So hopefully you're on my email list and you are getting my Healthy Life Bits email series, which last week was about melatonin. So hopefully you got a chance to read that, either the email or the blog post that followed the email. And I just want to talk a little bit more about melatonin because it's one of those funny things that people think of as like a sleeping pill or certainly a sleep aid, which is what it is, but it's not a sleeping pill. So melatonin is something that's naturally made in our brain. We actually want to have healthy levels of melatonin, and that will help us have a nice normal sleep cycle. One of the ways we make sure we have enough melatonin is by getting or eating a nutritious diet. So you need the precursor for melatonin. So that actually comes from tryptophan, which may ring a bell. That's something that we get in turkey. So people always think, oh, I get so tired when I eat turkey. It's the tryptophan. Well, it's not really, but poultry is one place that you can get tryptophan in your diet. Also other animal products, also eggs and some shellfish. But that is where we're going to get the tryptophan, which then converts into what's called 5-HTP, which then converts into melatonin and serotonin. So you want to make sure you have enough precursors to make that amount of melatonin that we really need. So who is melatonin great for? Well, it's great for people over 55 because we tend to have lower levels of melatonin. I'm not quite 55, and so far so good. I do not have any trouble falling asleep, which I'll get to in a minute. It's also great for jet lag. So if you are traveling into a different time zone, melatonin can help regulate your circadian rhythm so you can get back onto a normal sleep cycle for the destination that you're visiting. It's also helpful for shift workers. So I know the sheriff's department in my area does day shifts for a certain amount of time, then they get 6 days off, and then they switch to night shifts. So during that switch cycle, those 6 days that they get to transition would be a great time to use the melatonin to kind of switch their sleep cycle. There's also a couple of childhood situations that it can be good for children. But back to the whole idea of me being able to fall asleep easily. That has never been my problem. So, hey, Roxanne, so melatonin helps you fall asleep. A lot of people I know that have tried melatonin, they're like, well, I fell asleep, but I didn't stay asleep, so I don't think it works. Well, if it helped you fall asleep, then it's working. It's not necessarily going to keep you asleep because that's not how melatonin works. And the other thing that's interesting about melatonin is melatonin in and of itself isn't going to cause you to sleep. You have to think of melatonin as sort of the bugle blower or the person that's rounding everybody up. So melatonin is just the one running around trying to get all the key players in place. That's melatonin's job. So it's alerting the brain that it's getting to be time to go to bed, or go to sleep. So it's telling the brain, start the processes that are going to put this body to sleep. So melatonin isn't putting you to sleep. It's just, again, getting the processes in your brain that will be putting you to sleep ready and in order. So for the typical person who has a pretty normal circadian rhythm and they sleep at night and wake up in the morning, melatonin might not be a good choice. It may not be super effective. Now, if you're healthy, but maybe your sleep rhythm is off, it could be helpful. So I had a patient today who is in her late 50s, and she's got this crazy sleep cycle. She's retired, so she just kind of likes to be a night owl and stay up. And so she's going to bed at like 3 or 4 in the morning and then getting up at 11 in the morning, which first of all isn't enough sleep. And your best sleep is going to be between, before midnight. So ideally, you don't want to get to bed before after 10. So 10 to midnight, you're going to get some good sleep. Anything earlier than that, even better. So clearly her cycle's way off. So she's somebody who, we put a sleep protocol together for her today. So she's going to try and kind of back that sleep time up. And I'm having her start at midnight. I'm like, let's get back to midnight. And then we're going to set a wake up time. And this is a no kidding around wake up time. As soon as 8 o'clock hits, feet on the floor, out of bed, even if she's still totally exhausted, you have to stick to that wake up time. So hopefully we're going to get her shifted, and melatonin may in fact help get her to fall asleep earlier in the evening. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. The other group that it potentially can help with is people that tend to stay up late on Friday and Saturday night, but then need to go back to bed at a normal time on Sunday because they have to get up early for work on Monday. Melatonin can maybe be helpful Sunday night to kind of get you back into your normal cycle. Anyway, so what do I want to say? I have some notes. I already told you that melatonin was a precursor to getting to tryptophan. Tryptophan was a precursor to melatonin, and melatonin is what gets your body cycling into sleep. When you're looking at melatonin supplements, they're often synthetic, but this is okay. So, they are bioidentical to the melatonin that we make in our brain. So your melatonin can either be plant or animal derived, or it will be synthetic. If it's derived from a plant or an animal, it will say that on the label. So if it doesn't say where the melatonin is coming from, you can assume that it is synthetic. So it's manufactured. And again, that's fine. Dosing is very interesting. And this was in my blog post. Evidently, there's a bunch of trouble, actually accurately depicting or claiming what the actual dose of melatonin is. I think I'm trying to remember now what my statistics were, but it was something like it can be 86% less than what it's stated on the label, or it can be something like, I don't remember if it was 200 or 400% more than what's stated on the label as the dose. So that's a little sketchy. But, again, there's some places online that you can go and you can check supplements through a third-party validator. So I actually created this cool, I think it's cool, melatonin handout. So in here, I cover, sorry, I got to go over here and move it. So anyway, I cover what melatonin is and what it does, and I show you kind of your natural sleep cycle. So melatonin actually peaks at 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I give you some tips on how to actually use melatonin, and some suggested supplements, which I went on these validation sites and looked at their rankings for melatonin. So I pulled some off of there. But I also give you kind of a visual shopping list of what they suggest, as well as some pharmaceutical grade supplements, which is what I really like to use. And these are two of my favorite companies, Designs for Health and Pure Encapsulation. So I give you a couple of suggestions there. Some melatonin facts, what to be aware of, because there are some things that you want to understand about melatonin and some of the side effects. I do give you a little shopping list checklist, and then references, and then me at the end. But anyway, if you are interested in maybe purchasing some melatonin or maybe using some, I think that little cheat sheet could be helpful. And if you're not a shift worker and you're not over 55 and you're not jet lagged, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try it. If you're having trouble falling asleep, give it a try. There are some studies that are showing that dosing with melatonin or supplemental melatonin does not deplete your natural production of melatonin. Now, things that deplete your natural production of melatonin would be coffee late in the day, not enough sunlight, and then too much light in the evening after the sun goes down, and then nutrient depleted diet. So there are things that will deplete your natural level of melatonin. Age also being one of those things, sadly. But anyway, so I just did want to kind of round out my melatonin information from last week with this little live, and then of course with my free melatonin cheat sheet download. If anybody's interested, I will put the link to that in the comments below this live video. So if you want it, you can pop over and grab it, and it'll come in your email and you can download it there. So I see Roxanne. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but if you do, now's the time to pop them up there. Otherwise, we're going to call it a day, and I will see you guys next week. I'm hoping to do this on Tuesdays. So my Healthy Bits email goes out on Thursdays, and then I will follow up with a live on Tuesdays. In case anyone has questions, you can always post them. Or DM me or message me through Facebook with questions, and then I can answer them during my live, or you can come to my live and ask questions. But anyway, that's pretty much it. So look for the link in the comments if you want my melatonin cheat sheet. And I hope you guys have the great rest of your day, and I hope you sleep well. We all need to be sleeping well. All right, so take care. I will see you on next Tuesday, and you'll hear from me this Thursday. Bye-bye.